Bird flu explodes in the United States. Millions of chickens are dead. And at the same time, we have bizarre disasters hitting food processing plants. This is by Mike Laundrie, Western Journal and WND. One can almost understand how Pharaoh might have felt, and as God sent the plagues of locust, frogs, darkness, and more upon Egypt. This was at the time of the exodus of the tribes with Moses. Of course, things are not that bad, but seemingly daily news items of fertilizer shortages, transportation and fuel issues, food processing plant fires, continued concern about health and pandemics, and what's going on, one might ask. So how can you can add one more plague? This is the plague. The list is to be added with bird flu, and it's culling millions of chickens, turkeys, and ducks, the poultry that is, and is raising food prices of poultry, of course, according to CNBC. Over the weekend, Oklahoma became the 31st state to confirm avian flu in chickens. State Impact, the Oklahoma Consortium of Public Radio Stations, reports. Also, over the weekend, 19,000 ducks on 7 farms in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, had to be killed in hopes of containing the disease, according to WJGAL. As of Monday, 35 million birds in the U.S. were reported to have died or been killed due to the flu, the second worst spread of the disease in history, according to Reuters reports. France has culled 16 million birds, and the disease has also occurred in Britain, Italy, and Spain. So it's a matter of time before it spreads through all of Europe. Now, affected birds were in both commercial flocks and non-commercial backyard flocks. Big commercial chicken farmers may have an advantage since they have in place biosecurity measures, according to Dr. Alicia Gorzica Sutherland, Assistant Oklahoma State Veterinarian. State Impact says. She recommends keeping poultry indoors or in coops and keeping them away from waterways to avoid transmission from ducks. U.S. and European commercial growers of organic and free-range chickens have been keeping their birds indoors. That's caused problems for consumers paying extra for designation of birds being free-range, according to Reuters. Since November, France has required farmers to keep chickens indoors. The U.S. Department of Agriculture recommends the practice but does not require it. A major U.S. producer of free-range chickens and eggs, Pete and Jerry's, is keeping its birds indoors. The company said, "We will be constantly evaluating the exposure risk and will have them back outside in the sunshine as soon as possible." Avian flu can spread to humans, but that risk is low, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As of last week, the CDC confirmed only one person tested positive for that, and that individual, who had direct exposure to poultry, has recovered since that. To avoid bird to human aviation flu transmission, the CDC encourages avoiding direct contact with wild birds and with domestic birds that look sick and with bodies of dead birds and surfaces contaminated with bodily fluids and feces of birds. Okay, look, I have to be careful. Why do I have to be careful reading this? Because every time we have Holy Liturgy at the church, we have a lot of outdoor areas. We don't all fit in the church and we have to keep social distancing and wearing masks, but we have these beautiful Italian type of concrete benches, and I wash them down. I wash them down with disinfectant every time we have the beginning of the liturgy, so that when people come, the benches are dry and very clean. So what happens is I do wear a glove. I do wear gloves, special gloves, but sometimes I find bird feces on the benches, and I have to scrape it off with the little sponge that I use. But reading this, I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'm hesitant. I'm not even going to clean the benches because I don't want to touch the feces of the birds. Okay, it says here, avoid direct contact with wild birds and with domesticated birds. Well, we're talking about pigeons in my case, seagulls and pigeons and sparrows and things like that. So with domestic and wild birds that look sick, and with the bodies of dead birds and surfaces contaminated with bodily fluids and feces of birds. So that's what I have to do with in my case. I have to. What do? I guess I have to use a hose and a strong bristled broom to scrub them down. But that would, of course, affect the surface of the benches. Oh my God. Anyway, if you have an idea what I should do, please tell me in your comments. Anyway, the bird flu here joins a growing list of threats in daily life, many of them being contributed to inflation. It says reduced poultry flocks, of course, lead to higher prices for poultry. Chicken, eggs prices already boosted by increasing transportation costs. Fertilizer stocks are threatened, which can lead to food shortages. Higher fuel costs can raise the price of almost everything. And who knows what's behind the bizarre fires and shutdowns as some 24 food processing plants, including 2 planes that crashed into a couple of plants in 1 week. What is going on? Meanwhile, it's good to read about increasing numbers of people posting on social media about how they are learning or returning to the venerable practice of growing and preserving their own food. That's commendable, and with the way things are going, probably necessary. This is what our grandmothers used to do. I know that they used to boil the chicken and put them in jars. The same thing, they made their own tomato sauce, they made their own jams and jellies, and their own pickled vegetables. Anyway, because if our society tries to solve the problems by once again mailing everybody checks, they will be worthless if there's no food to buy, of course. That's something to keep in mind, along with remembering that for now at least, you need to keep your chickens inside the coop. This is originally from Western Journal and WND. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.